This is the Belmont Trophy from 1908. My mother bought it for my father. He had named his business after the horse that won it, Cohen. She found it at an antique show in Louisville. She paid $5,000 for it in 1971. I did a little bit of research. I know that the August Belmont Trophy is a whole different trophy, but that there were some trophies that were made perhaps by Tiffany's by a gentleman who I believe his name was Paulding Farnham.
It begins not with a race, but with a quiet purchase at an antique show, a decision that would later reveal an extraordinary story. This 1908 Belmont Trophy, acquired in 1971 and kept within a family for decades, stands as a striking example of early 20th century American silverwork. While it may evoke the legacy of Paulding Farnham, the renowned designer of earlier Belmont trophies, this piece was created just after his final known works, marking a transition within Tiffany & Company. The key to its authorship lies in the hallmark. Engraved on the base is the letter M, identifying John C. Moore II, who assumed leadership of Tiffany's silver production in 1907. This places the trophy firmly within his era, confirming both its date and authenticity. Substantial in weight, estimated at over 200 ounces of silver, the piece demonstrates both material richness and refined craftsmanship. Beyond its ceremonial appearance, the object reveals a surprising function. Opening the lid exposes a copper-lined interior, transforming the trophy into a humidor designed for storing cigars. This dual purpose enhances its desirability, bridging multiple collecting interests from Tiffany silver and equestrian heritage to smoking-related artifacts. Its original presentation box, still intact and bearing the Tiffany mark, further strengthens its provenance.
I would estimate that if it came up for auction, being by Tiffany, which is one of the best, if not the best, silver manufacturers of the time, that it might bring between $30,000 and $40,000 in today's current auction.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's a flask that my father found in the basement of my grandparents' house when they cleaned it out. The monkeys kind of look like they're messing around on the front of it, which is kind of fun because I think it's Victorian era, which was probably unusual.
Discovered in a quiet basement among forgotten belongings, this silver flask quickly reveals itself as far more than a curious family keepsake. Marked by Tiffany & Company, it opens a window into late 19th century design, where craftsmanship met playful imagination. Produced in 1881, under the direction of Edward C. Moore, the flask reflects a period when Tiffany embraced global influences, particularly following the Centennial Exposition. The introduction of Japanese aesthetics into Western decorative arts inspired what became known as the Japanesque style, clearly visible here in the lively depiction of monkeys. Such whimsical imagery is unusual for the Victorian era, making the piece especially distinctive. Crafted in sterling silver, the flask is notably large, with a capacity of 5.5 gills, approximately 650 milliliters. Its surface combines technical precision with artistic expression, balancing functionality with narrative decoration. On the reverse, an engraved inscription links the object to the Country Club, one of the oldest country clubs in the United States. The dedication, dated 1884, connects it to Thomas Thorne, a clay pigeon shooting champion, and to Pierre Lorillard Jr., a prominent sponsor from a well-known tobacco family. This inscription situates the flask within the social world of elite sporting culture in America at the time.
I'm going to tell you between $4,000 and $6,000.
Okay.
The inscription would add probably another $1,000, and so you'd be at the $5,000 to $7,000 range. But given the rarity of the monkeys, the scene, it certainly could do a lot more. So it's a wonderful piece, and I'm glad you brought it in.
I'm glad I brought it in too.
For a number of years, my parents collected jewelry from the Southwest. And these are two Charles Loloma pieces that I believe they got in the early 70s through the Heard Museum.
What do you think those cost back then?
And we actually have the receipts. So that
Okay.
it was under $200
Oh, you're
per
kidding me.
piece. Per piece.
What begins as a modest pair of bracelets, once purchased for less than $200 each, quickly unfolds into a story of artistic revolution and cultural identity. These pieces are the work of Charles Loloma, a pioneering Hopi artist from Third Mesa in Arizona, widely regarded as a transformative figure in Native American jewelry. Loloma, active throughout the mid to late 20th century, redefined traditional forms by introducing modernist design principles. Trained at Alfred University and later teaching at the Institute of American Indian Arts, he fused indigenous heritage with contemporary aesthetics. These early bracelets exemplify that philosophy. Rather than relying on elaborate inlays seen in his later works, they emphasize simplicity, texture, and form. Created using tufa, casting a technique involving soft volcanic stone molds, the surfaces carry a raw, organic quality. One bracelet features a minimal band focused on texture, while the other evokes an abstract landscape with flowing natural lines. This restraint is precisely what makes them so significant, reflecting a deeply rooted Hopi sensibility before Loloma's work evolved into more complex compositions with turquoise, coral, and gold. Their authenticity is reinforced by signatures and documented provenance, adding to their desirability in today's market.
I would venture to say that in today's market, this bracelet alone, probably in the retail marketplace, about $25,000.
Whoa.
This bracelet,
Wow.
maybe a little more. Like, why? Because people like turquoise. A really great example of his restraint and creativity, $28,000.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. So my parents did very well when they purchased these back in the 70s. I mean, they're beautiful pieces.
I found them at a garage sale. I paid 50 cents for it, and it was just laying on a table. I thought it was cool.
How long ago did you pick this up?
About 7 months ago.
A 50-cent find at a garage sale might seem trivial, yet this modest purchase quickly reveals itself as an extraordinary artifact of early 20th century craftsmanship. What appeared to be just an old pen is in fact a rare example from Waterman, one of the most influential names in the history of fountain pens. Produced around 1910, the pen reflects a period when Waterman led the industry through both innovation and scale. The imprint, number 420, is particularly significant. The number 20 designates the largest size the company ever manufactured, making this piece unusually substantial, while the number 4 indicates a silver overlay, a decorative outer layer that required considerable skill to produce. This combination of size and overlay is seldom encountered, elevating its rarity. Beneath the cap lies a 14-karat gold nib, size number 10, engineered for both resilience and smooth writing performance. The pen operates with an eyedropper filling system, a hallmark of early fountain pen technology, where ink is manually introduced into the barrel. This detail firmly situates the piece within its historical context before the rise of more advanced filling mechanisms. The silver overlay itself transforms the pen into more than a writing tool. It reflects refined metalworking techniques, adding both texture and visual sophistication. Such embellishment, paired with the pen's scale, makes it especially desirable among collectors.
At auction, a pen like this would sell somewhere between $1,200 and $1,500.
Okay, that's awesome.
With the silver overlay, it's going to sell, conservative estimate, at $4,000 to $8,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow, that's amazing find. Wow.
I brought a platter of some kind. It was in my grandpa's house for as long as I can remember, and we don't know really that much about it.
When I first saw this, you brought it to the table and you peeled back the packaging, and my heart kind of skipped a beat just a little bit, because I knew instantly what it was and where it was from, and it's just such a beautiful example.
Grandeur does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it lies quietly. In form, material, and craftsmanship, waiting to be recognized. This remarkable platter is a striking example, an object whose scale and refinement immediately place it within the world of late 19th century European luxury decorative arts. Created in Vienna around 1880 and attributed to Hermann Boehm, the piece reflects the height of the Renaissance revival movement. Boehm was known for producing elaborate presentation centerpieces that combined historical inspiration with exceptional technical execution. Here, that vision is fully realized. At first glance, the translucent panels appear to be glass, yet they are in fact carved rock crystal, a form of quartz. Subtle internal fractures confirm the material, while the precision of the carving demonstrates masterful lapidary work. These panels are framed by finely worked silver and enamel, decorated with cherubs, satyr masks, and graceful female figures set within cornucopia motifs, all characteristic of Renaissance-inspired ornament. Equally impressive is the construction. Each element is individually mounted and secured, revealing the complexity behind its assembly. Even the underside is carefully considered, with sculpted lion paw feet adding both stability and decorative richness. Measuring nearly 22 inches in diameter, the piece commands attention through both its size and intricate detail.
With a little bit of love and a little bit of cleaning, I think if I were to see this come up at auction, I would feel very comfortable with an auction estimate of $30,000 to $50,000.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I'd recommend an insurance value of $60,000.
Wow. Okay, so no more hosing it off. My husband has lugged it around all day today, so I'm glad it was worth the effort.
I brought my great-grandfather's trophy that he got for the Belmont Stakes. He had a stable at the time that had a number of great racehorses, but the big one was Sir Barton, and this is the winning trophy for the very first Triple Crown.
There are moments in history when an object becomes more than metal and form, when it quietly carries within it the pulse of an extraordinary story. This silver trophy is one such piece forever tied to the unlikely rise of Sir Barton and his unforgettable triumph at the Belmont Stakes in 1919. At the time, Sir Barton was not expected to become a champion. Known for his difficult temperament and fragile condition, he was initially entered into the Kentucky Derby merely as a pacemaker intended to tire out stronger competitors. Yet in a stunning turn, he surged ahead and claimed victory. What followed was nothing short of historic. Within just 32 days, he went on to win the Preakness Stakes, and finally the Belmont Stakes, securing what would later be recognized as the first Triple Crown. This trophy, a sterling silver tray, was awarded to commemorate that Belmont victory. Its surface, finely engraved with the owner's name, reflects the tradition of honoring sporting excellence through masterful silverwork. While its design is restrained, its historical weight is immense. Such presentation pieces were crafted not only as awards, but as enduring symbols of achievement. From a material standpoint, the tray embodies early 20th century American silversmithing with a balance of durability and elegance. Its condition remains strong, and careful polishing is considered acceptable within the category of athletic trophies, enhancing its visual appeal without diminishing authenticity.
We would place an auction estimate on the tray at $15,000 to $25,000.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty cool.
For an insurance figure, I would place an insurance amount of $35,000.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's wonderful.
So it's a kiddush cup that's been used for wine in Jewish ceremonies. It's been handed down in my family for as far back as I know as my grandfather, who was born in 1877.
At first glance, it appears to be a simple cup, modest in form and quiet in presence. Yet beneath its worn surface lies a story that stretches across centuries, carrying traces of faith survival and memory. This vessel, used as a kiddush cup in Jewish ceremonial life, dates back to 1654, placing it firmly in the 17th century. Crafted in silver gilt in the renowned metalworking center of Augsburg, it bears the distinctive pine cone mark associated with the region. Augsburg in Bavaria was one of Europe's great centers for fine silver production. At that time, Jewish communities were often excluded from guilds and relied on Christian silversmiths to create ceremonial objects. Despite its plain exterior, the underside reveals a heraldic crest, and inscription suggesting that it may not have originally been made for Jewish use. Over time, however, the cup was adopted into Jewish ritual life used in ceremonies such as Shabbat and Rosh Hashanah. Its size and form meet traditional requirements, holding enough wine for ritual blessing. What elevates this object beyond craftsmanship is its journey. Carried through historical upheavals, including the era of the Holocaust, it survives as a powerful witness to both history and heritage, preserved and used across generations.
I would say an auction estimate would be between $2,500 and $3,500.
Okay.
Jewish items that are sort of in continuous Jewish use from this time period, even the 18th century, are very rare.
My great-grandfather worked for Standard Oil of New Jersey and was sent to Europe in some sort of official capacity, and they lived in London. And when they were there, they bought a bunch of stuff, you know, from furniture to painting to clocks to silver. So I'm assuming that they bought these items when they were there.
And that was probably in the early part of the 20th century?
Early part of the 20th century, late part of the 19th century.
At first glance, these silver figures seem almost theatrical, as if drawn from a stage rather than a silversmith's workshop. Yet their craftsmanship firmly anchors them in the decorative arts of late 19th century Europe. Playful, intricate, and unexpectedly refined, they represent a category of objects where utility gives way to imagination. This cohesive group consists of 4 figurative silver pieces, 3 likely produced in continental Europe, most plausibly Germany, and 1 crafted in England. The distinction is evident not only in style, but also in material. The continental examples are made from 800 grade silver, a slightly softer alloy commonly used across Europe, while the English ox bears full sterling hallmarks, indicating 925 silver and confirming its origin through traditional assay practices. What defines the collection is its whimsical character. A jester figure stands out, richly adorned with semi-precious stones and formed around a nautilus shell body, its exaggerated shoes and curved hat emphasizing movement and humor. The cat figure, equally expressive, features delicate earrings that add a surprising and almost satirical detail. These objects reflect a period fascination with fantasy, storytelling, and exotic forms within decorative design.
As a collection, I'd say it's probably worth $20,000, maybe even $25,000 at auction today.
You know, what do you say? That makes you speechless.
I'm waiting for you to tell me what I actually brought. I'm not sure. Maybe they're silver. I've had them for decades. My husband declared a moratorium about 15 years. I'm not allowed to buy anything that has to be dusted. So I've had them for quite a while.
Do you remember how much you paid for them?
I do not. I do not think it would have been a lot of money.
At first, they seem like a charming pair of silver animals, quietly sitting side by side, their true identities hidden beneath years of casual ownership. But as the story unfolds, one reveals itself as a remarkable work of craftsmanship, while the other falls short of that distinction. These figures are attributed to Julius Rappaport, a skilled silversmith who operated in St. Petersburg and later became one of the notable workmasters for House of Fabergé in the 1880s. Known for his finely detailed animal sculptures, Rappaport's work reflects the meticulous standards associated with Fabergé. A closer examination immediately highlights differences. The rabbit displays exceptional detail from the texture of its fur to its naturalistic posture, embodying the refined artistry expected of Fabergé workshop pieces. Its hallmarks further confirm authenticity, including the Cyrillic initials IP, an 88 Zolotnik silver standard, and a St. Petersburg town mark, all consistent with late 19th century Russian silver. In contrast, the cat, though similar in appearance, lacks both the same level of craftsmanship and convincing wear. Its lighter weight and sharper, less aged marks suggest it is a later imitation rather than an original. This comparison underscores how subtle technical details, weight wear, and hallmarking are crucial in authentication.
His animals have gone for a lot of money. The bunny, I would easily put an auction estimate of $5,000 to $7,000 on it.
Okay. All right.
The cat is not so expensive.
Yeah.
It's probably in the hundreds.
Oh, okay.
If I was going to insure it, I'd probably actually insure it for about $15,000.
Okay.
Some of his larger animals especially have sold for like 30, 40, 100,000, 150,000.
Wow.
The sky's the limit.
Well, my father went to Edinburgh, Scotland in 1933 after graduating college, and he purchased this from an antique dealer there.
Is he Scottish?
Yes.
Okay, so he went to university in Edinburgh, presumably?
He went to Harvard.
A single purchase in Edinburgh in 1933 quietly preserved a remarkable piece of Scottish heritage, one that today unfolds as a complete ceremonial dress set of exceptional quality. Acquired by a young graduate during his time abroad, the collection reveals far more than decorative appeal. It captures the craftsmanship and identity of 19th century Highland culture. The set includes all essential elements of traditional attire. The sporran, lined with ermine and adorned with polished cabochon stones, immediately draws attention as a symbol of status. Accompanying it is the scian dubh, the small dagger worn discreetly in the sock, and a larger dress dagger with a finely carved bogwood handle. A beautifully worked belt buckle, fastening pieces for securing the tartan, and a full set of matching buttons complete the ensemble, emphasizing its ceremonial purpose. Hallmarks on the silver link the work to William Marshall, with production dated to 1873 in Edinburgh. These include the thistle mark of Scotland, the castle symbol of the Edinburgh Assay Office, and the monarch's head indicating duty paid, all confirming authenticity and origin.
Do you know how much your father paid for it?
Absolutely no idea.
Okay. At auction, I would estimate this to sell for between $8,000 and $12,000.
I know it's silver. I know it's about 50 years old, and it's from India.
And how did it make its way all the way here?
I believe my mom got it from India.
Right.
And it was in the family.
Did she use it ever?
I put flowers in
You
there.
put flowers in it?
But not the fake flowers, not the
Okay.
real ones.
Well,
What seemed like a simple silver bowl once used for arranging flowers quickly unfolds into a vivid artifact of history and craftsmanship. Brought from India and preserved within a family, this piece reveals itself as a finely worked example of Indian silver dating from the late 19th to early 20th century. Most likely produced in Lucknow, a renowned center for decorative arts, the bowl belongs to a group often described as hunting or jungle scene silver. Its surface is densely decorated in repoussé, depicting animated scenes of elephants, tigers, leopards, and hunters, all rendered in remarkable detail. Each motif is raised from the interior and refined on the exterior, demonstrating a high level of technical mastery. Formed from a single sheet of silver, the vessel was hammered into shape and intricately worked by hand. This demanding process highlights the skill of traditional artisans. On the underside, stylized leaf patterns echo acanthus designs commonly found in European silver, pointing to artistic exchange during the British Raj, when British and Indian silversmiths influenced one another. Although unmarked, this is not unusual for Indian silver of the period, where hallmarking was not strictly standardized. Identification instead relies on stylistic traits, which strongly support its origin. Originally, such bowls could serve ceremonial purposes, such as holding water with floating roses, but they also functioned as decorative or utilitarian objects.
I think in that case, for insurance, have to put a figure of around $10,000 on it.
$10,000?
Yes.
Thank you.
If this bowl was to come up for auction, I think it would sell for between $4,000 and $6,000.
Okay. My mom will be very happy to know.
In 2001, my mom died, and I found this box in her safety deposit box. She was very frugal. She grew up poor, and then even though she wasn't so poor, she would go shopping in the Bronx, and my father would shop at Fifth Avenue. They traveled a lot through Europe, a lot to England. I would think he probably bought that box. I can't imagine her buying a box like that.
Some heirlooms do not reveal their true worth until time gently uncovers their story. Discovered in a safety deposit box after a mother's passing, this silver box carries both emotional weight and remarkable artistic value. It was crafted in England by Gerald Benny, a leading figure in 20th century British silver design, known for redefining traditional craftsmanship through modern expression. Created in 1972, as confirmed by its hallmark, the box is made of sterling silver and adorned with 18-karat gold knobs. Its most striking feature is the signature bark finish, a textured surface resembling tree bark. This distinctive effect was discovered accidentally when Benny used a damaged hammer, producing irregular marks that he later developed into a defining aesthetic of his work. The piece also bears full English hallmarks, including the date letter R, along with the maker's name, ensuring its authenticity. Even the underside is finely finished with a radial pattern reflecting meticulous attention to detail. Benny's importance is further underscored by his multiple royal warrants, confirming his role as a supplier to the British royal household. This box exemplifies his effort to move beyond historical imitation, instead creating designs that reflect the spirit of his era.
I would estimate it at auction for anywhere between $5,000 to $7,000 to reflect that result.
My mother would be turning in her grave with this.
I actually inherited this from my grandmother, who died in 1961. And my mother told me that my grandfather had had this and another horse commissioned because This was supposed to be his horse, whose name was Fargo. When I received this, I carved the name into this block.
It begins with a story rooted in inheritance and memory. This silver horse, passed down through generations, was long believed to represent a horse named Fargo, a name later carefully carved onto its base. That small addition reflects a personal bond, but as the narrative unfolds, the object reveals a far richer origin. While it may appear to be a portrait sculpture, closer analysis suggests it is not a direct likeness. Instead, it aligns with the style of George John Willis Good, a 19th century English animalier sculptor known for his lifelike depictions of horses. It is likely that this piece was selected during travels chosen because it resembled a familiar horse, rather than being specially commissioned. The sculpture itself is an exceptional example of English silverwork. Cast in sterling silver, it displays refined craftsmanship in every detail. The horse is shown fully saddled with reins and bridles, rendered with precision, even bearing their own hallmarks. The texture of the coat, the definition of the muscles, and the careful stance all contribute to its naturalistic quality. Hallmarks located inside the rear leg indicate London origin, with the date letter N confirming production in 1928, along with a maker's mark JH. What first seemed like a sentimental keepsake ultimately stands as both a decorative artwork and a testament to early 20th century craftsmanship, where personal meaning and artistic tradition intersect.
At auction, I would estimate this probably to sell for around $6,000 to $8,000.
Wow, that's surprising. Okay.
I've had it for 30 years. I stopped into an antique dealer that just sold furniture and books, and one day he said, I've got something really special. How would you like to have it? And I said, well, you don't give away things. How much was it? And he said, $160. And I said, well, I've got a Civil War newspaper out in the car, and I knew he liked that kind of stuff. Would you trade? And so he traded me for this.
Some objects reveal their true significance only after time has quietly passed, transforming a simple acquisition into a remarkable testament to craftsmanship. This refined inkwell by Tiffany & Company stands as a compelling example of late 19th century American silver design. Executed in sterling silver with intricate mixed metal applications, the piece is distinguished by its richly detailed naturalistic motifs. Small sculpted insects animate the surface. Most notably, the copper figure perched on the lid, contrasted by brass accents and subtle blends of copper and silver across the leaves. This sophisticated use of multiple metals creates depth tonal variation and a lifelike dynamism that elevates the object beyond its utilitarian purpose. The design is associated with Edward C. Moore, who led Tiffany's silver department from 1873 to 1891. Introduced around 1875 to 1876, the piece reflects Moore's global artistic influences, particularly from the Middle East and Japanese decorative arts. These inspirations are evident in the organic forms and asymmetrical composition. Underside markings, including numerical codes, and the central M confirm both its date and its connection to Moore's directorship. As such, the inkwell represents a convergence of artistic innovation and technical precision.
In a retail venue, this would sell for between $6,000 and $8,000.
Really? Wow. $160 trade wasn't a bad deal.
Civil War newspaper.
Yeah.
Pretty great. Well done.
I brought an ice pick that my in-laws gave me. They found it at an estate sale, and that it's from the late 1800s. I've seen the matching punch bowl online from an auction house, but other than that, I don't really know much.
How much did they pay for it at the estate sale?
$45.
Sometimes the smallest objects carry the most unexpected stories, quietly preserving a moment in history through design and symbolism. This unusual ice pick, modest in size yet striking in form, turns out to be a rare survival from the late 19th century, crafted by Gorham Manufacturing Company around 1870. Gorham, one of America's most prestigious silver firms, was known for transforming everyday objects into sculptural works of art. This example takes the form of a polar bear, its body elongated into a functional handle, merging utility with imaginative design. The detailing captures the animal's posture and strength, reflecting both technical skill and artistic flair. What makes this piece particularly fascinating is its historical context. Following the purchase of Alaska in 1867, public fascination with the Arctic surged in the United States. Polar exploration became a popular theme, and objects like this drew inspiration from that cultural moment. The polar bear motif is therefore not merely decorative, but deeply tied to contemporary curiosity about distant, icy frontiers. Further confirmation of its date comes from retailer markings, linking it to Crosby, Morrison, and Foss, a Boston firm active in the 1870s. While matching sets such as ice bowls, tongs, and spoons are known, the ice pick is exceptionally rare, seldom encountered even among collectors.
So with our rarity today, retail value, $4,500.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Wow, I would have never guessed that. It's a lot more than that $45.
A couple zeros more.
Yeah.
They belong to my husband, and his father was a jeweler.
Okay.
And he did a lot of work in New York. That's where we think he acquired them.
And do you use them for any specific purpose?
They
or?
just sit on my dining room
Okay.
table for pretty.
Well, that's, I think, exactly what they're for. They're a real statement piece, aren't they? They're absolutely gorgeous looking.
Created in London around 1912 to 1913, during the early reign of George V, the pair bears full English hallmarks that clearly establish their origin and quality. They are attributed to the Pearpoint brothers, a respected maker known for producing elaborate revival-style works that drew heavily on earlier artistic traditions. The design itself is rooted in the Renaissance Revival aesthetic. At the top, a merman figure blows into a shell, his scaled tail curling behind him as he sits upon scallop forms. Below, 4 dolphins rise as supports, lifting the composition above stylized waves. These marine creatures were common motifs in 16th century art, often symbolizing the mystery and power of the sea, frequently appearing in maps and decorative objects of the period. Crafted in sterling silver, the pieces are not only visually impressive, but also intentionally declarative. Unlike earlier centuries, when hallmarks were discreetly placed, here they are prominently displayed on the front, emphasizing both authenticity and material value. Each piece weighs significantly, yet their artistic and historical appeal far exceeds their intrinsic silver content.
But if these were to come up for auction, I would estimate them now at between $4,000 to $7,000. So quite a lot more than I think the sort of $2,000 that we would have imagined if they were melted down.
At one point in time in my career, I served as Dean of the College of Business at the Rochester Institute of Technology. After that, I decided to take a position elsewhere, but they wanted to provide me with a gift in recognition of the service. And so they put me in contact with a faculty member, Hans Christensen, who was a faculty member of the American Craftsman School. And he and I sat down together and discussed designing and producing some piece of silver.
A formal gift marking the end of an academic chapter turns out to be far more than a gesture of appreciation. Commissioned in 1979, after years of service at the Rochester Institute of Technology, this silver piece emerged from a direct collaboration with silversmith Hans Christensen, where ideas were exchanged and translated into form within moments. Christensen, trained in Denmark and connected to the legacy of Georg Jensen, carried forward a philosophy rooted in craftsmanship and artistic integrity. His career included representing Jensen at the Museum of Modern Art in 1952 before settling permanently in the United States. By the late 20th century, he had become a leading figure in American studio silver. The piece itself reflects the expressive qualities of 1970s design. Its surface is entirely hand-hammered, with subtle textures and an intentionally uneven rim that emphasizes the human touch. The maker's mark, bearing the initials HC alongside a hammer symbol, confirms its authenticity and celebrates manual technique. Rather than striving for perfect symmetry, the work embraces variation and individuality, aligning with the studio craft movement of that era.
I would say that if this were to come to the auction today, it would probably bear an estimate of $2,000 to $4,000 and could perhaps exceed that.
Yeah, that's great.
But I think in the coming years, it's only going to appreciate in value.
I got it from my mom. I'm guessing I was probably 5, 6 years old. We were in Thailand in the northern region. There was a tribe, and we were staying in huts right along the river. So that's where she got it.
What began as a childhood memory of drinking punch from a beautiful silver bowl slowly reveals itself as a cultural artifact shaped by tradition, craftsmanship, and everyday life in Southeast Asia. Acquired during a family journey through northern Thailand, the piece carries with it not only personal nostalgia, but also the artistic identity of a region deeply rooted in ritual and community. This bowl was most likely crafted in Chiang Mai around the mid-20th century, an area historically known for its skilled silversmiths. Made entirely of silver, it exemplifies the repoussé technique, where intricate designs are hammered from the reverse to create high-relief imagery. The depth and density of this repoussé work closely resemble that found in Burmese silver traditions, reflecting the shared artistic influences across neighboring regions. Encircling the bowl is a vivid narrative of village life: oxen pulling carts, figures carrying goods on shoulder yokes, stilted houses, and scenes of cooking, farming, and daily routines. Each figure is individually formed and then refined through chasing, suggesting that the bowl was entirely handmade, requiring immense time, precision, and skill. Such pieces were often used as offering vessels in temples, decorative displays, or for holding food, embedding them within both spiritual and domestic contexts.
I think that at auction you'd be looking at an estimate of 1,500 to 2,500.
Very cool. Yeah. I think I'm going to keep it as my punch bowl, though.
Yeah, it's a great way to use it.
This is my great-great-grandmother's box that was passed down to me. It sat on my mother's dresser for a long time, and I always just admired it. I think it said Germany on the bottom, and there were some other silver marks that I saw, and I couldn't figure out what they might have been.
It evoques often the quietest heirlooms that carry the deepest stories, and this small silver box is a perfect example. Passed down through generations, once resting on a dresser, and admired in passing, it reveals a far more layered history upon closer inspection. Crafted in Hanau, near Frankfurt, the piece emerges from one of Germany's most prolific silver-producing centers at the turn of the 20th century. The maker is identified by the GR mark as George Roth, an active silversmith who began using his own hallmark around 1906. In Hanau, unlike other European regions, artisans were not bound by strict guild hallmarking systems. Instead, they frequently employed pseudo-hallmarks, decorative marks, inspired by earlier 18th century silver. These were not intended to deceive, but rather to meet the growing demand for antique-style objects during that period. The box itself reflects this practice. Its form draws from classical European designs, while the gilded interior adds a refined, luminous contrast to the exterior silver. Likely intended as a decorative table casket, it balances elegance with functionality. The workmanship is solid and characteristic of Hanau production, combining historical inspiration with efficient craftsmanship.
In today's market, you'd probably be around $200. If you add in the workmanship, the age, we know who made it, the design, you're probably looking at auction between $300 and $500.
Wow.
Yeah, so you've got a good eye.
Man.
You have to keep on collecting.
Yeah, I will.
I was on my way to meet a friend to do some shopping. I was running way ahead of schedule, stopped at a yard sale. It really kind of caught my eye, and I asked the lady how much she wanted for it. She said 10. It was really filthy. And I said, would you take 7? And she said yes. And so that was last August, and it's been sitting on my bureau ever since.
Sometimes the most unassuming roadside stop reveals a story far richer than expected, and this silver piece is a perfect example. Purchased for just a few dollars at a yard sale, it initially appeared to be an antique mirror, but closer examination tells a different, more precise narrative. This is a sterling silver mirror frame crafted in London in 1997 by Neil Lasser, a maker known for reviving historical decorative techniques. Though relatively modern, the piece deliberately echoes the elegance of 19th century design. Its surface is adorned using the repoussé technique, a traditional method in which a flat sheet of silver is carefully hammered from behind into a mold to create raised sculptural decoration. Here, the floral motifs emerge in soft flowing relief, giving the frame a sense of depth and richness that closely imitates antique craftsmanship. The authenticity and origin are confirmed through a full set of English hallmarks. The lion passant indicates sterling silver. The leopard's head signifies London assay, and the date letter corresponds precisely to 1997. These marks, though small, provide a definitive record of manufacture and guarantee the material's quality.
If I were to see this come up for auction, I would expect it to bring in the neighborhood of $500 to $700.
Wow, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. I am just blown away and extremely surprised. Wow, thank you so much.
Well, I want to go shopping with you.
I brought a belt that I acquired in the 1980s. I really wanted to know more about the belt.
Okay. Where did you buy it?
I bought it in a pawn shop.
Really?
Yes, I did.
And where was that?
In Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what drew you to it?
It reminds me of items that I collect from North Africa.
At first glance, it seemed like nothing more than a decorative belt purchased decades ago for less than its intrinsic silver value. Yet as its details come into focus, the piece reveals a far richer identity rooted in the traditions of the Ottoman Empire. Likely originating from the Caucasus region, it reflects a sophisticated metalworking culture known for intricate ornamentation. Crafted in silver and silver gilt, the belt combines multiple techniques. The oval panels are adorned with niello work, where black inlay creates strong visual contrast alongside delicate filigree that enhances texture and depth. Each segment is individually cast and linked with pins forming a flexible structure. Notably, every panel carries slight variations featuring foliate and star-like motifs. A key detail is the presence of the tugra, the imperial emblem of Ottoman sultans based in Istanbul, reinforcing its cultural origin. An Arabic inscription behind the buckle further supports this attribution. Altogether, the belt represents both functional design and symbolic artistry from the 19th century.
I think a retail price for this today should comfortably sit within $1,000 to $1,500.
Very good, thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much.
I found it at an estate sale, just local in town.
And how long ago was that?
Maybe 10 years.
Okay.
I love little boxes, and this one's really pretty. And I paid about $10. It's silver and enamel of some sort. That's literally all I know.
At first glance, it is easy to overlook this small box. Yet the closer you look, the more it reveals a world of extraordinary craftsmanship and refined taste. What appears to be a simple decorative object is in fact a sophisticated creation born in Austria around 1930 to 1935, shaped by the bold elegance of the Art Deco era. The body is crafted from silver gilt, glowing softly with a rich golden interior that immediately suggests luxury. Its surface is a masterclass in enamel work. The base layer features guilloche enamel, where delicate patterns are mechanically engraved into the silver and then covered with a translucent tea-toned enamel that shimmers under light. Around the sides, champlevé enamel introduces depth and contrast, enhancing the overall visual rhythm of the piece. The lid draws the eye instantly. At its center rests a thin slice of natural agate, subtly echoing the surrounding hues. Encircling it is a luminous band of plique à jour enamel, a rare and demanding technique that allows light to pass through like stained glass, creating a glowing, almost ethereal effect. Elegant in scale and delicate in construction, the object is best understood as a compact marked made in Austria and sterling. It was likely intended for export to the American market. Its excellent preservation and intricate design elevate it far beyond an ordinary decorative item.
I think today in a good auction, the bidding would start, or the estimate would start at $1,000 and go up to maybe $1,500. Wow. So it's a great object and a great find of $10.
Wonderful. Awesome.
I bought it at a neighborhood yard sale from a lady, and she said it was her mom's and maybe her grandma's.
Do you know what it is?
Well, we have several bets on this. My girlfriend thinks it's a bouquet holder, and I think it's a shot glass.
All right. How much is the bet?
A trip. I've got a lot riding on this. A girls' glam camping trip.
Well, you owe your friend a trip.
It is often the most unassuming finds that carry the greatest surprises, and this small silver object, picked up casually at a yard sale, proves exactly that. What first sparked debate over its purpose soon reveals itself as a refined and culturally telling accessory from the late 19th century. This piece is a Russian silver bouquet holder, often referred to as a nosegay, dating from around 1895 to 1900. Identified by its distinctive hallmarks, it reflects the high standards associated with Russian silverwork of the period, known for both quality and relative rarity. Unlike ordinary decorative items, a nosegay holder served a very practical social function. In an era when urban environments were often filled with unpleasant odors, these small floral holders allowed a lady to keep fragrant blooms close at hand. The design itself is both elegant and innovative. Intended to be held delicately, it elevates the bouquet toward the face rather than displaying it outwardly. What makes this example particularly unusual is its integrated stand, allowing it to rest upright on a table when not in use. This dual functionality enhances both its practicality and its visual appeal.
Any Russian silver of this time is of great quality and really quite rare. You said you paid how much for it?
$5.
If it showed up in an antique shop, you think about $1,000 and maybe perhaps $1,500.
That is amazing. That's amazing. I think I'll keep going to yard sales.